hear a lot of chatter on the media and from our learners about feeling that the vaccination was created quickly. What would you say to that?
So there was a particular reason why it took a relatively quick amount of time to get the vaccine made and approved. So it was a top priority from our own country, international countries, that this pandemic was having a very significant impact on our health systems and on our economies. And if we needed to bring in all the tools as possible, that's masking, hand washing, social distancing, decreasing our gathering sizes to actually prevent the spread of it. But we know vaccine is probably one of the most effective tools that we can use. Now, vaccine safety is probably one of the highest priorities we have in our country, and we have a system that's in place to ensure that vaccines are made safe and they're effective. And what we know so far right now, the COVID vaccines have met those two criteria. The vaccines still go through several rigorous phases when they're developed. And usually a vaccine can take several years to develop, and this is actually a unique opportunity because the population is seeing a vaccine being made in real time. So the first phase usually involves the laboratory scientists actually creating the virus. Then they start testing in a small group of people to see if it's safe and it works, and then try to find out what's the best dose. And then finally they do large clinical trials with tens of thousands of people to see how does it work in the real world settings. And so we also know at this point that there's been hundreds of millions of vaccines administered so far, and we haven't seen a whole lot of adverse events or side effects from it. The other thing we do around vaccine safety is that we keep a very, very focused attention on how vaccines work in the real world. So particularly on COVID, we do this for all vaccines. If someone has an adverse reaction where they have an allergic reaction or they have some medical condition that is unexpected after getting a shot, we investigate those. So it's actually the law in Nova Scotia for healthcare practitioners, if they suspect that a vaccine has caused an adverse reaction or had some weird side effects, that they have to report that to us. So we track that and we keep a close eye on that. And then the companies that actually develop the vaccines, they do what's called post-market surveillance as well. So after it's been introduced, they're also continually watching the vaccine, seeing how it's working, how does it work in the real world. So it's an extremely important thing, is we're taking a substance that we want to make sure it achieves its goal, and we know these COVID vaccines do this. The benefits clearly outweigh the known and small side effects that come from vaccines. But we also make sure we're putting something in a healthy person as well. It's one thing if someone's sick and they have heart failure or a heart attack, we give them a clot blister. We have to give those because we know the benefits really outweigh the risks there. But we want to make sure in healthy people that we're going to introduce a substance that's not going to cause any harms. And right now, what we're seeing is the vaccine has been extremely effective and extremely safe as well. We haven't seen any odd reactions. There was a particular vaccine, the AstraZeneca one, where we did see a slight higher increase in certain types of a clotting disorder. But overall, this vaccine, our expectations have exceeded how well it's worked. When we look at the flu virus, the vaccine against the flu virus, it's around 40 up to 70% effective. It's okay. So when we were aiming to make these vaccines, we said at least 50%. We want 50% of people to actually have some sort of immune response and protective. The Pfizer and Moderna vaccines are 94, 95% effective. The AstraZeneca and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine are around the 75 to 85% effective. So they've actually gone above and beyond what we expected. So we have this very efficacious technology, and we have a great way to end this pandemic in the next few months.
Perfect.
That's great. Thank you.
And I think I would just add that a very common concern I think that some people have around safety is, well, it's a brand new vaccine. I get this all the time in the clinic. And I think this is a statement that I make, and I believe this, and I always say, we've brought new vaccines along the way. So just in my career of 27 years, hepatitis B was a new vaccine that we brought to Nova Scotia. HPV was a new vaccine. The rhinovirus or rotavirus was a new vaccine. But we have to remember that although it's considered a new vaccine in our province or our country, it's the same individuals, the same scientists that have been researching this for years that are developing these vaccines. They didn't wake up one morning and put a little chemical combination together in their kitchen and say, let's hope this works. They have been studying this. This is their everything they eat and breathe every day. So you do have to have some trust, just like you would trust your doctor is going to do surgery, right? You don't just bring your neighbor in to do surgery. It's someone that has studied this for a long time. And the other piece that I do get around this safety piece is, well, if you're not someone that normally takes any medications, I get this all the time. So what will happen in my body, because my body's not used to medications? And I say, you know what? If you're someone who can honestly say, I check every ingredient that I put into my body, I know every bit of air that I breathe in, what's in it, everything that I use on my skin, I check every ingredient, then I said, you should definitely research every ingredient and have a lot more questions than the average person. But most of us don't. We really don't look at ingredients to the degree that we're looking at this. And I realize it's because we're in a pandemic and it's never a bad thing to ask. But it's made the light bulb go off for a few people that I've had that conversation with to go, yeah, you're right. I don't. I get the questions and I get the concern. It's new and it's all we're hearing about. But you have to take it down to a perspective that makes sense too.
I think it's so important that saying, you know, it's a new vaccine, but for the scientists and all the people in the laboratories, it's not new to them. They've been researching it and looking at it for years. And I think that's so important for the community to know. Thank you.